I cautiously entered the dimly lit movie theater, drawn by an irresistible curiosity. The plush seat seemed to call my name, and as I settled in, the film began. Mesmerized, I soon noticed an unsettling sensation, my skin merging with the chair. Panic set in as the movie transformed into a surreal nightmare, mirroring my own descent into an inescapable fusion with the cursed seat. The moment I sat down in the worn, velvety chair, an otherworldly hush enveloped me. The film flickered to life on the ancient screen, casting an eerie glow across the nearly empty theater. The narrative started innocently enough, but as the minutes passed, I felt an inexplicable pull, as if an invisible force was stitching my essence to the fabric beneath me. My initial fascination turned into horror as the scenes on the screen began to warp and distort. The characters' faces contorted into grotesque masks, and the once coherent plot unraveled into a maddening tapestry of disjointed images. Simultaneously, the chair seemed to tighten its grip on me, merging my skin with its surface in an unsettling union. Desperation clawed at my mind as I attempted to free myself from the insidious embrace of the chair, but it clung to me with an unholy tenacity. The boundaries between reality and the film blurred, as though the movie itself had become a malevolent force determined to consume my very being. As the cinematic madness unfolded, I could feel my identity unraveling, much like the fragmented storyline on the screen. The theater's atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive, as if the walls themselves were closing in on the macabre spectacle. I screamed, but the sound echoed back at me, distorted and haunting. In the surreal descent into horror, I became a part of the grotesque tableau. My body melted into the chair, the boundaries of self dissolving into a nightmarish fusion. The movie's imagery seeped into my consciousness, and I found myself reliving scenes of my own life, distorted and warped by the malevolent magic of the cursed theater. The once comfortable seat transformed into an instrument of my own torment, a prison of flesh and fabric. The film's climax mirrored my own descent into madness. The boundaries between the movie and my reality disintegrated into a chaotic amalgamation of horror. As the last frames of the film played out, I was left trapped in a grotesque synthesis of person and chair, my consciousness forever entwined with the cursed cinema experience. The flickering light of the screen cast an eerie glow on my distorted form, a silent testament to the malevolent power that had consumed me within the confines of that ominous movie theater. Suddenly, the dissonant whirlwind of the movie's madness reached a crescendo, and the screen transformed into a distorted reflection of my own tormented visage. I found myself staring back at another unsuspecting soul sitting in a different theater, captivated by the allure of the same cursed film. A strange sense of duality overcame me as I observed the new victim, their face etched with a mixture of awe and horror. The chair beneath them seemed to pulsate with the same malevolent energy that had ensnared me moments ago. I tried to scream a warning to convey the ghastly fate that awaited, but my voice was lost in the nightmarish symphony of the cinema. As the scenes on the screen unfolded, a macabre metamorphosis began. The new victim's surroundings twisted and distorted, mirroring the surreal descent that had marked my own horrifying journey. The chair eagerly embraced its new occupant, merging with their very essence as the fabric of reality unraveled around them. I could sense their futile struggle against the inescapable fusion, the same desperate attempt to break free that had consumed me. The film became a twisted mirror reflecting not only their external torment, but also the fragments of my own shattered identity, now interwoven with the cursed celluloid. The boundaries between the movie and the theater dissolved further as I watched the new victims succumb to the same nightmarish fate. Their form melted into the chair, their screams echoed through the cinema, and their identity became a grotesque part of the ever-evolving narrative playing out on the screen. As the last frames of the film flickered, the theater plunged into an ominous silence. The screen now displayed the twisted amalgamation of my own and the new victim's torment, a grotesque symbiosis of suffering. The cycle perpetuated, as the cursed movie continued its malevolent journey, reaching out to ensnare the next unsuspecting soul in its surreal grasp. I was left to watch from within the cinematic abyss, a spectral observer forever bound to the cursed film, my essence now an integral part of its dark narrative, as the cycle of horror unfolded in new theaters, claiming victims in a never-ending cascade of macabre transformation. As the cycle of torment perpetuated, I found myself in a nightmarish limbo, an eternal observer trapped within the spectral confines of the cursed film. The theater became a twisted stage, and my existence dissolved into a chaotic dance with the macabre scenes playing out on screen. The new victims, one after another, succumbed to the sinister allure of the cursed movie. I watched as their faces contorted in horror, mirroring the anguish I had experienced when my own identity unraveled. The distorted echoes of their screams resonated through the theater, forming a dissonant symphony that further fueled the descent into madness. Time lost its meaning in this surreal purgatory, as I bore witness to an endless procession of souls ensnared by the malevolent cinema experience. The boundaries between reality and fiction blurred, and I questioned whether I was witnessing a grotesque reality or a nightmarish fantasy. With each repetition, my own consciousness fractured further. The fabric of my sanity unraveled like the scenes on the screen, leaving me suspended in a state of perpetual horror. I screamed, but the sound was absorbed by the eerie silence of the cinematic void. The theater itself seemed to warp, its walls pulsating with an otherworldly energy that echoed the torment unfolding within. Shadows danced in grotesque patterns, and the flickering light of the screen cast haunting shadows that played tricks on the frayed edges of my sanity. The film became a twisted reflection of my own shattered psyche, an ever-changing montage of memories, fears, and nightmares. I could no longer distinguish between the movie's narrative and the fragments of my own consciousness. It was a nightmarish kaleidoscope of suffering, repeating endlessly in a relentless loop. As the new victims melted into the cursed chairs, I felt a perverse connection with each tortured soul. The boundaries between their agony and mine blurred, and I descended further into the depths of a madness that seemed to stretch into eternity. I longed for release, but the cursed film held me in its relentless grip, a prisoner of my own spectral existence. In the background of this unholy spectacle, I became a mere shadow of my former self, a ghostly witness condemned to watch as the cycle repeated endlessly. The theater, now a realm of perpetual horror, echoed with the anguished cries of those who had fallen victim to a cursed movie, a symphony of suffering that played on, drowning out any hope of escape. In the spectral theater of perpetual horror, I became aware of a new presence, a reader drawn into the nightmarish tale of the cursed film. The narrative unfolded before their eyes, and I, a mere shadow within the haunted cinema, watched as they were unwittingly pulled into the same malevolent vortex that had consumed me. As the reader immersed themselves in the chilling narrative, I sensed a familiar desperation in their eyes, the same dread that had gripped me when my own descent into madness began. The cursed film weaved its insidious magic, ensnaring them with an inexplorable force that transcended the boundaries between fiction and reality. With each turn of the virtual page, the reader's connection with the cursed cinema deepened. I tried to reach out, to warn them of the impending horror, but my spectral form remained powerless, condemned to be a silent witness to their inexorable fate. As the scenes unfolded, I saw the reader's surroundings transform, mirroring the surreal descent that had marked my own demise. The chair beneath them pulsed with an unholy energy, and the familiar fusion between person and seat began, sealing their destiny in the cursed embrace. Their screams echoed through the digital corridors of the narrative, a haunting chorus that reverberated within the confines of the story. The reader fought against the inescapable fusion, just as I had, their struggles mirroring the futile resistance that defined my own journey into madness. The film's climax approached, and the theater plunged into an eerie silence. The screen now displayed a grotesque amalgamation of the reader's torment, woven into the nightmarish tapestry of the cursed movie. As the final frames played out, the narrative reached a crescendo, and I felt a strange sense of connection with the reader, bound by the shared agony of our entwined fates. In a dramatic twist, the virtual boundaries between the cursed cinema and the reader's reality seemed to shatter. The haunting shadows of the theater extended beyond the story, enveloping the reader in an all-encompassing darkness. The screen flickered, glitched, and then abruptly went blank. Silence lingered, leaving me in an eerie stillness as I awaited the resolution of the reader's fate. The narrative's grip loosened, and the theater dissolved into a void. In that moment, the reader's experience ended abruptly. Leaving me suspended in the digital abyss, a ghostly remnant of a story that had unraveled into madness. The echoes of their torment lingered, haunting the empty theater as the spectral remnants of my own consciousness continued to drift in the darkness. The cursed film had claimed yet another victim, and I, a mere whisper within the digital void, remained condemned to watch as the cycle of horror played on, the narrative unresolved, the reader's fate forever etched in the chilling echoes of the loop that I and many others unwillingly call home. After my descent into madness, a new reader unwittingly entered the narrative. In an unsettling twist, I found myself drawn into their body, merging with the cursed chair. The echoes of my own screams intertwined with the haunting whispers of the film. As the cycle reached its climax, I seized the opportunity to escape. With the movie's end, I departed the theater, leaving the other reader now trapped within the curse. The digital void echoed with their agonized cries, a relentless cycle of suffering bound to the eternal dance of horror within the haunted theater. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this narration. I just wanted to give a quick thank you to all of my patrons who are subscribed over at my Patreon. We have a great big thank you from me to you, Alonzo, Kozak, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Andreas Anderson London, and Geek Sanctuary. Thank you guys so much for supporting me. If you would like to support too, just check out the links in my description. And thank you again for listening. I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.